Okay? So it goes on, the two sides to our right and to our left are constructed of shittim wood, boards standing one against the other. They are covered with gold, softly reflecting the gold hue of the bedazzled colors inside. Looking up, the visible ceiling is one layer of linen strips of fine linen, white, blue, scarlet, and purple. Atop the linen of many colors, hidden from the sight of three additional layers of animal coverings. They are in ascending order: goat's hair. Remember the board that I used sometimes to demonstrate the tabernacle? It had 4 layers. One was goat hair. One was ram skins dyed red and badger skins. Those goat hairs represent these hairy, this flesh of ours. That's what those hairs are made to represent. So in other words, the entire tabernacle represents these physical, fleshly tabernacles. Now the interesting thing is that the tabernacle was only for a time of wandering. When you get settled in a permanent and set place, then you need something that's more permanent. That's why after the kingdom of Israel was established, and after David had fought all the wars that they needed to fight, Solomon, who was being set up as a type of God, now builds a temple of God. A temple is a permanent dwelling place. That's why Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 1, he says, if our earthly house of this tabernacle were dissolved, we have an eternal temple. Notice how he uses the tabernacle versus the temple? Because Paul knew in his mind that the tabernacle was just a temporary dwelling place, but the temple was a permanent residence. That's why I use it. He said that if your tabernacle right now in which your soul resides were dissolved, don't worry about it, because you already have a house in the heavenly realms. He didn't say you will have it. He didn't say you did. He says we already have it. And so, what we're looking for right now, the same power and the same energy that's going to dissolve these tabernacles. It's going to kill the wicked. It's going to slay the wicked, but it's going to free us from our chains of bondage. It's going to burn this veil off of us. That's what it's going to take. And that's what God's plan is. But basically, some of the terms for the size of the ark is taken from Strong 6763, which basically mean ribs. And we can go on and on to show how the whole mystery of God is wrapped up in the sanctuary. It discloses the entire mystery. And here's one verse that you might want to write down. Psalm 77, verse 13. And it basically says, thy way, or thy path, O Lord, is in the sanctuary. If you want to know anything about the secret mysteries of God, just look in the sanctuary. Now let's go to Numbers chapter 33 as I wrap this up. I want to show, and this is a graphic example of what God means by tabernacles. It shows, to me, this chapter, when we're going to compare it with Matthew chapter 1, it's going to reveal one of the deepest mysteries of how God is operating in these earthly tabernacles. So let's go ahead and read those verses real quick. In verse 1, now how long did Israel dwell in the wilderness? 40 years, right? It was a trip that they could have made in I've heard some commentators say about 11 days. Mercy. They dwelt in the wilderness for 40 years for a trip that geographically could have been done in 11 days. And if you look at any map, you see it was not a big distance problem. We're going to see why that God allowed them to linger. Now we know that part of the reason was because of their sinfulness. But there was something else that God wanted to demonstrate with that. Numbers chapter 33, verse 1. These are the journeys of the children of Israel, which went forth out of the land of Egypt with their armies under the hand of Moses and Aaron. And Moses wrote their goings out according to their journeys by the commandment of the Lord. And these are the journeys according to their goings out. And they departed from Ramses, now that was one of the major cities of Egypt, in the first month, on the 15th day of the first month. Now that word 15, that number 15, is a number associated with tabernacles. It's a number that's associated with our ascending from our current state up into the tabernacles of the heavenly realms. Okay? So verse 15 says, verse 3, the rest of it says, on the 15th day of the first month, on the morrow or the day after the Passover, The children of Israel went out with a high hand in the sight of all the Egyptians. For the Egyptians buried all their firstborn. Remember, because of the plagues that God had sent? They had to bury all their firstborn. And you know, this is exactly what God is going to do to this modern nation of Babylon. Because right now, here's what God is doing. He showed me this a few days ago. In the Spirit, God is trying to call all of his people out of the bondage that we're held in because of the demands of society. Pharaoh is telling us to go out there and make brick just as surely as Pharaoh of old kept those people in slavery and bondage. If you want to keep that house, even though you've totally paid for it, you better pay your taxes on a monthly basis. Well, how am I going to pay my taxes? Go out there and find some straw and burn it and put it together and make some bricks. You know? Well, I already paid for my car. That's okay. Keep paying taxes and we'll let you keep it. Well, how am I going to do it? Go out there and find some straw, put it together and make some bricks for me. You know? Well, I need to eat. Okay, well, you can eat as long as you keep paying, you know, tax and everything that you buy. You know, you get the point. Pharaoh is keeping us so busy with taxes and insurance and piling us with every regulation that he possibly can that we're just like the people of Israel with all these burdens on our back, trying to get free so that we can serve God. The Spirit of God is saying, come out of Egypt and Babylon so you can serve me in the wilderness. But we can't go because Pharaoh has his hand on us so heavy. So what did God do to Pharaoh of old, to Egypt of old? He destroyed them with plagues. Isn't it interesting that in Revelation chapter 15 and 16, we see the plagues addressed to modern Babylon? Well, of course, the world at large, but Babylon got the worst of it. Because Babylon's plagues came in 1 hour. And anybody that's even remotely associated with anything that's going on with the New World Order or even American history knows that New York is that city of merchant trades. And he specifically addresses it because for years and years, the kings of this earth have been getting rich by the fornication and by the different trade. And maybe next week we can go into some more specific details of that. But basically, that's why they were burying their firstborn. Verse 5 says, and the children of Israel removed from Ramses and pitched in Succoth. They pitched in where? Succoth. That's an old word that means tabernacles. They pitched in tents. So the spiritual people of Israel at some point in the past departed from Succoth they departed from Egypt. And now we're dwelling in Succoth. We're dwelling in Succoth just like the old people were. Because we're dwelling in these tabernacles. We're wandering as it were in the wilderness. Only thing is right now we're in the generation that's about to cross the promised land. The only question that remains to be answered with us is are we going to be one of the ones that died in the wilderness? Or are we going to be like Joshua and Caleb that actually went into the promised land? And there's so many things. I don't mean to be making all these digressions, but there's so much meat in each one of these verses. So I'm just going to keep on as the Spirit leads. Verse 6, and they departed from Succoth and pitched in Etham, which is the edge of the wilderness. And they removed from Etham and turned again unto Pihahiroth, which is before Baal-zephon, and they pitched before Migdol. And they departed from before Pihahiroth and passed through the midst of the sea into the wilderness, and went 3 days' journey into the wilderness of Etham, and pitched in Marah. Now that word Marah means bitterness. And they removed from bitterness and came to Elim. And in Elim were 12 fountains of water and 70 palm trees. So they went from bitterness to a place where there were 12 palm trees. Now palm trees, again, are associated with the Feast of Tabernacles. They always took palm branches and they waved them on the day of the Feast of Tabernacles. Okay, now verse 9 says, okay, I read that. Verse 10 is where it gets really interesting. And they removed from Elim and encamped by the Red Sea, and they removed from the Red Sea and encamped in the wilderness of Sin. And they took their journey out of the wilderness of Sin and encamped in Dovka. And they departed from Dovka and encamped in Elush. Now the reason why this is so fascinating is because of this. This chapter, I have to go to the next page, has how many verses? Well, actually, I'm just going to go to verse 49. Okay. Now at verse 49, I noticed something interesting. At the time Moses starts to record the history of their encampments, watch what happens. They have their first one recorded in, I guess you could say verse 6. They departed from Succoth and pitched in Etham. By the time you count up all these verses, where it says they departed from one place and went to another place, you have a total of 42 different separate encampments of the people of Israel.